Well, spent a lot of time looking at a lot of film and trying to figure out, maybe what we're doing a little different. And one interesting thing we came up with, and in 3 games that we lost, 4 guys had career nights. Duke, it's been interesting watching Grayson Allen get 0 for 5 and 2 for 9, I think, last night. And so I think one thing we got to figure out is, this team is, people are going to play their best games against us. And whether we're ready for that or not, too young for it, it seems to be a little bit of a problem. So we've tried to talk to them about that, but it was a tough stretch, long season, still got a long ways to go. I don't think anybody's lost any belief in themselves. Our goals are still in front of us, still the same. With this week, it gives us a better chance to maybe look at those films and spend a little more time on us. And that's what we tried to do Sunday and Monday. As far as Indiana goes, they've won 3 in a row. They're playing good ball. They've got a great forward in Juwan Morgan, and who's averaging 16 and 7 or 8. And maybe more importantly, they've got 2 or 3 senior guards, one 5th year, that are all playing pretty well right now. So it's probably more about us than it is about them. We've got to take care of our own issues. We've got to get the ball to Nick more. We've got to get the ball out of double teams a little better. Although when we go back and look at the film, it hasn't happened as much as you'd think. He's not doing a good job of getting deep. We're not doing a good job passing it in, and the coaches aren't doing a very good job of figuring out how to get it in. So that's what we've been working on and what we are going to work on. And as you can see, the league is crazy. Some of the games they've just been, games around the whole country are that way. I'll be honest with you, I thought we'd drop into maybe 20th after 2 losses. And when I looked at it, why we didn't, because everybody's got the same issues we got, which is what I said before, that right now I'm not sure anybody's able to handle any success. Teams are losing 2 in a row. Teams are losing this and that. I talked to some guys that don't have very good teams that have taken good teams right to the wire. I just don't think there's as much separation. And sometimes you got to get lucky too, and some teams have done that. So, questions? Beautiful.
Tom, you talk about the double teams on Nick, and obviously that's something that's becoming more and more prevalent. What is sort of your answer?
Well, it shouldn't bother us as much. One of the biggest 2 problems start before he gets double teamed. He's not posting very deep, so he's getting pushed out and he's getting the ball out, 16 feet from the basket. And we've been complaining that our guards aren't getting him the ball, but it's hard to make a pass when you're at the 3-point line to a guy that's almost standing next to you when there's 2 people guarding you. So we don't think our break has been very good, and we were getting the ball in there some, and he was getting some buckets there, and so was Langford. And so we just think we got to space it out a little bit more, run a lot harder, and get our break going, which means our guards got to push it a little bit better than they've been pushing it. So when it does go into them, we're working on a couple of schemes that we think will help eliminate their ability to double, whether we do some things on the weak side that we're talking about. But Nick's really, it's not all his fault on getting double, but it has been a problem on where he's posting, and that's what we got out of yesterday and today.
Tom, along those lines, talking about what happens with Nick before he gets the ball, because he's become a higher priority on opposing scouting reports, I would imagine teams have been bumping him before he gets to his mark, so it's harder for him to come across the
grabbing him, holding him, yeah.
Yeah, and there becomes an art to that. I would imagine for him an adjustment that he's going to get tackled on his way through the lane. Firstly. Secondly, screening. What are you seeing in terms of screening? Is it need to get tightened up also in terms of getting through your offense as well? People moving too early or setting screens on time, and just the type of screens that you've set in the past.
I don't think our screening is good, and I don't think our setups has been as good. But the biggest thing that has not been as good, and we're still scoring a decent amount of points, is our break. And again, if we're going to turn it over, take the Michigan game. We shot 50% the whole game, 56 in the first half. So I don't know how bad the screening was. I don't know how good the screening was. But I think it's easy to pick everything apart that you can pick apart. We can't turn the ball over. We got to get our running game. That's who we are. And we've got to do a little bit better job of getting to the offensive glass. Nick does get frustrated. He's handled it a lot better, but he's been more stagnant. And I think we've been doing way too much dribbling, not enough passing. And the ball's been kind of standing still, and that's something that's going to change one way or another.
Is screening having anything to do with the turnovers here and there? Not even just the illegal screens, but guys not showing up to pop out to their spot and the one that's closing out. Not so much.
I mean, I don't think that's had to do with our turnovers. I think our turnovers because guys aren't moving and the ball's not moving. It's dribble, 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 and then pick it up and then look to pass. That's you can't screen that. So I don't know. I've looked at so many things, but I don't think that's one of them.
When you talk about the guards and the dribbling, it seemed like, and I think Brendan maybe even picked this up, they were getting you guys starting your offense a little farther out. I guess, how do you adjust to that in terms of getting the offense set a little closer to the top of the key?
Run. It's got to be, ball's got to be pushed, the wing's got to run deeper. Nick was getting so many over the tops and easy things in there. We got to run better. And they haven't necessarily taken that away. We've taken that away. I think we've done a poor job of running. And I think we've done a poor job of pushing the ball. And so those are two areas that it's harder to double team a guy if we can get the ball to the wing and get it in there before they get down there. And that's what we were doing so well. Yesterday I watched all three losses. I watched the Duke game again today what did we do different in that game and what did we do different? The most amazing stat of all, so I think we can't get over carried away with some of it. But I showed some of you that Ohio State game. But the most amazing stat of all was in 2 minutes and 10 seconds, I think there were 17 points they scored. There was a three-point play. There was a foul on a three-point play where they fall underneath the basket, and then they got it out, and they got another three-point play. There was my technical. There was a couple of horrendous calls. And from 1:15 of the first half to 19:07 of the second, I think it was 18 points they scored. So those things are just kind of freaks of nature, too, that happen in a bizarre way. So whenever things don't go right, you pick apart a million things. We're still shooting the ball better than most teams. If you look at Michigan, for example, in that game, what did we want to take away? The three-point shot. Get to the free throw line. Out-rebound them. We did all those things. We didn't take care of the ball. And I don't think there's... It's still my favorite time of year because when the NFL playoffs are on, that's all those guys talk about, and there are some ridiculous turnovers. So there's going to be guys now, that we've gotten a year and a half in that some of them got to change some of that stuff, and we're going to make some changes.
Tom, we've talked a lot about the chemistry of this team and the togetherness, and how critical at a time like this in the season where you're kind of in this lull, how critical is the leadership, and does it affect the team at all that the one real clear strong leader, a guy like Tom, maybe isn't as involved on the court?
Well, he's got to be more involved. That's one thing. We got to get him. We never ever intended to play Cassius 31, 33 minutes, and that I just don't think he's built for that right now. So that was, like I said, that's my fault. And But, you know, Miles has to step up a little bit in that area too. But the chemistry has not changed any. We lost a couple games, you know. I mean, it's really, it looks like such a bad loss at Ohio State. I just told you, you know, it was 2 minutes of a bad loss. Now, that doesn't look the same to you, but that's the way I look at it. And, you know, the game the other night with 18 turnovers, I don't know how we were in the game for that many points, 28 points or something off turnovers. So, I mean, some of those things are fixable. You know, same shots didn't go in for the same guys last night as went in the other night. You know, we're going to have to learn. We're going to get people's best shot. And we're a little young to learn that. And, you know, concerning, a bunch of juniors and seniors are coming in this week that have been through the wars. And so we've just got to grow up quicker. And, you know, I think we'll do that. I really do.
Two questions for you, Tom. The first, I went back this week and spent some time listening to what you thought coming into the year. Is Ben now in a place, because he's a guy you thought could give you some stuff, especially at bigs, that he can play?
No. Ben's going to be, is a nice player. He came back, Hondo, and he sprained that ankle, and it was worse than we thought. And it kept him out for 2 weeks, and he's been out for 2 years. It's not about replacing guys. Guys, don't go that route. If you ask me, can Ben help us some? There's part of me that, you know, one of the issues we've had is everybody's going small. So that is not the direction we're looking right now. I think he can help us. We're putting him on the scout team because it's helped X so much. And Ben, but he couldn't even do that till this week because of the ankle. He's in poor shape. It's not his fault. He's had all those, but we're searching, you know. I'm not going to let's open it up. Our football team was in here, you know, played basketball yesterday on their off day. I wasn't down there like this looking, can I get somebody to play on my team, you know. We're kind of going a little crazy here for a 2-game stretch, and I'm not going there. I got to get better play out of the guys that I know can play better, to be honest with you. I don't need to replace anybody as far as looking for guys that haven't played for 2 years. I'm hoping Ben can give us 6-8 minutes a game, and I really was. But, you know, right now we're struggling to get minutes. You know, we still got to keep Nick in the game. We just got to do a better job of getting him the ball.
Second of all, obviously we know the physicality that we've seen over the last few games. Considering where they were about freedom of movement, my photographer got a picture the other day of literally Nick getting hugged in front of a ref. I'm just curious, have they told you they're backing off on freedom of movement, or is it just something that's happening?
What's that? The hell did he say?
Bite your lip hard.
Bite my lip hard. I've not been very pleased with it. I mean, I don't think it was as bad as another game I've had, but it wasn't. There was a concerted effort to, you know. I heard a great line today that what they said on the NFL. They said the goal with Gronk should be to hold him and foul him until they call it, because you ain't going to stop him otherwise. It is funny, the freedom of movement thing. It's almost a joke. And, you know, and that's where maybe when you're a little bigger, you can get banged a little bit more. Athletes that can run and move. But I have not been thrilled with that part of the game. Did I bite it enough?
Yeah, they did well.
Thanks.
I think of that sign that used to be in Sparky Anderson's office that every day the world turns over on somebody who thought they were sitting on top of it. And I know you detest thinking that losing helps you, but can the adversity you've had, never mind the losing.
I think adversity can help you a lot. I think kids look at film a little different. If I had to say one thing, and this is, I told my team this, so I'll tell you this. I don't think we got cocky. I don't think we have those kind of guys. I don't. Do I think that maybe I overestimated good people from complacency? Maybe a little bit, you know? And then do I think that I looked at my team as a good team, but I looked at 10, 12 other good teams. I knew the youth would be a factor, and if you went back and looked at your stuff, I think I brought that up at the beginning of the year. But I think teams have, you know, really geared up for us too. And Duke goes through it, some others. Sometimes I don't put us in that category. We were playing so good, and you know, it was 4th of July and Christmas at Ohio State, and that has no bearing on the Michigan game, because that should be 4th of July and Christmas if one team won one or one team won 21. It doesn't matter. But you know, got rocked a little bit there, and there's so many ups and downs. You know, if you watched the Maryland game last night, that could have gone the other way. And you know, a team we just beat here by 30. So we have to understand who we are and what kind of bullseye we got on our back. Because I think the bullseye is a little bigger this year. The social media is a little more important than it was 7, 8 years ago. And all those things that I think complacency without egos is maybe a better way I'd say it with our team. I don't think we're playing with the same sense of urgency. And I don't think it's anything that we think we're better than we are. I think it's something that just comes with having a lot of success and then not realizing the opponent is going to play at a different level too.
Can youth contribute to that, or is that an excuse in your mind?
Oh, no, youth is definitely, I mean, I talked to all the guys with youth, just youth is definitely a factor in that. Especially, you know, when there's a lot of youth in there. I mean, again, I said this at the beginning of the year. Don't compare us to Kentucky and Duke as far as the youth. And, you know, and it's kind of funny because if you watch Duke now, I mean, Grayson Allen hasn't scored as many points in 5 games as he scored in our game. But he's still a senior that's been through the wars, and you watch him out there, and he does rally his people. I mean, one game he was 0 for 5, but he had 11 rebounds. And I definitely, our youth is not, I told you, I thought they were prepared to play. I said this 2 weeks ago. I think they're prepared to play the game. I don't know if they're prepared to handle the bullseye and all the off-the-court things that go with that kind of ranking. So that's part of the growth problem. That's part of growing up.
To handle and coach a stretch with a young team like this, listening to you over the years as the sport's gotten younger and as your roster's gotten younger, it seems like you know how to handle and walk the line with a young team going through something like this better than you did maybe a few years ago as a coach that's been through it for so long and that is in the Hall of Fame. Do you feel like you've evolved in how to handle a young, talented team like this?
Yeah, I think I've evolved and learned how to. I don't think I like it. I don't think I like to do that. But when I went in the Hall of Fame, it didn't say up there, you know, are you more patient? Are you more, you're in the Hall of Fame because you're softer? You know, those things. It's very hard to tell players, media, parents, my wife, you know, it's very hard to tell people that times change. But to be successful at the level you want to be successful, whether you're in your job or my job, things don't change a lot. And it was so great because I talked to Draymond last night, and, you know, I mean, that team has still carried the same mentality through these last few years, and arguably he's a big part of it. But when I got done talking to him, there was a show that came on. It was on Kevin Garnett, and it was Championship Moments with Kevin Garnett, I think was the name of it. And Kevin McHale did the interview. It was a half-hour deal, and it was, you know, he said that when he went to Minnesota with his good friend Flip Saunders for the second time, everything was great. And when Flip died, things changed in the front office. And he said he really enjoyed working with the younger guys. until things started changing even more, and he started realizing, and he must have used the word AU in a negative way about 6 times. And he said entitlement. Well, entitlement is part, Jaron was on my radio show last night, and he says, well, Coach always says that our generation's more entitled and we want things faster. And I looked at him, and he said he's probably right, and maybe we don't know how to understand the process. Well, I think everybody thinks these things are just going to happen, and they don't just happen. So am I panicked over it? No, I'm not. I mean, I'm watching this, and I watch a million games, and I watch a million teams. How could a senior-laden team like West Virginia, how could that happen last night? I mean, it's almost impossible to happen. And I think it's dealing with the pressures that everybody's got to deal with and how you handle those things. I thought we were handling them pretty well. As I look at it, I don't think we handled it very well. But you never get to see how the other team, how are they feeling about coming in and playing you? And when you go on the road, it's really, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And with a younger team, that's harder to deal with. So we're going to make progress on it, and we're going to get better at it. But we do need to be held accountable, coaches and players, because what happens is when everybody's kissing their butt, and as time goes on and you try to adjust to the times a little bit and realize you can't be as demanding on my own kids or on them, and then when I get slapped in the face, I say, yes, you can if you're trying to accomplish the ultimate. I mean, how many good teams were there in the NBA 10 years ago? 15? I mean, there are a lot of great teams in the NBA. How many are there now? 4 or 5? That's a good answer. Somebody else said 4? Goes to prove you guys are smarter than I give you credit for. But there's 4 or 5. And some of the reasons is everybody's so young and everybody's so this and that and everybody's so screwed up, they can't handle the adversity of things that are going on. And that's what we got to handle now. And so that falls on me, and I'm excited to take that challenge, to be honest with you.
I wanted to kind of get a quick update on Kyle. I saw he's walking, but do you
Yeah, he won't be back.
Okay.
He will not be back. He is walking, but he's another month away from being able to practice. And they're not going to take any chances since it's kind of similar what happened. So no Kyle. Hopefully a little bit of Ben, because I love Ben, but it's probably not going to be probably not going to start him tomorrow or Friday. And it's about the guys that have done it getting a little better, and it's about getting a little more out of a couple guys. Gavin gave us a little more in the last game. It'll be about sometimes playing a little different. Maybe we'll move our lineup around, and maybe we'll be a little smaller at times. Maybe we'll do some things there. I mean, there's going to be some adjustments made. We just can't keep letting people drive us to death and not run our break, because those two things are staples. But as we say that, one team shot anything that we would call really good against us in the last 20 games, I think. And that's Ohio State shot 52%. I think Michigan shot 41 with a dunk at the end. They were under 40 the whole day. I think Rutgers was in the 20s. Our defense has been okay. It's the turnovers and maybe our lack of running that I'm most concerned with.
And that kind of gets me to my next question was going to be about Cash. How can you get more out of him, both from the physical play and maybe becoming a more vocal, kind of the traditional Izzo point guard, where he's maybe a little bit more in the face of those guys?
Well, if I could insult you to insult me on one thing, I would say not an Izzo traditional point guard, winning point guards. Point guards that do what they have to do to win games in any place. I mean, to win at an elite level, you know, Garnett said it so well. He said, so many guys are willing to do what it takes to win games. There are not many guys out there willing to do what it takes to win big games. And, you know, I think Cassius had been playing pretty well. I don't think the last couple games he played as well. And I think he knows why. And he's got to work on just being a little more aggressive, especially on the offensive end, pushing the ball, being more looking for his own offense, because he has the capability of doing that, and he was doing a great job of that. But understand this too, everybody's going to put different things on you now. You know, you get in a conference season and they're going to look at you a little differently. But Maryland looked at us differently, and we were able to do that. And maybe Ohio State looked at us differently. We weren't able to do that. But that's part of going to be some of the ups and downs that we're still in the growing process of.
And Cassius, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, you brought up the potential smaller lineup a couple times today. Just wondering what that might look like and how you think it would benefit you if you do go that route.
You know, I don't know totally what it might look like, but it could mean Kenny in there some more. It could mean moving Jaron around a little bit. You know, I mean, I don't think I brought it around several times. If I did, it wasn't in the back of my mind. I mean, I don't plan on changing a lot of things except a little better job of what we do when they double the post. And really, when Nick kicked it out a couple times against both teams and we missed wide open shots, especially against Ohio State, you know, I don't think I'd change much on that. I think the biggest thing is we got to get Nick the post deeper. We got to do a little better job getting him the ball.
On Cassius, he seemed really despondent after the loss. Do you check with where he is mentally to make sure he's in the right frame?
I love when guys are despondent.
Yeah.
I really do. I think everybody has to, you know, I was despondent too. And I think when you're despondent, it's not a good word for me, when you're down in the dumps, you know, or you're bummed out, sometimes that happens when you kind of finally figure out that I'm not doing what I need to be doing, and sometimes it hurts. And all those things are positive, especially for young guys. Learn how to make something hurt. Learn how to care enough about something that it bothers you. I'd much rather a despondent person than I would one that just goes on with another day at work. You know, I like when guys are upset. You know me, I like when guys are mad in my huddle. I like when guys, you know, Cassius doesn't show a lot of emotion. If he showed you despondency, if that's a word, I say that's exciting for me, because that means it really, really bothered him and really mattered. And so I, you know, getting down on yourself, despondent people, to me, you know, see it, figure it out, get mad about it, cry about it, whatever your emotions are. But most important, do something about it. To me, that would be a positive, despondent action. It's a tough word for me to use a lot, but.
Tom, I wonder with Jaron, if he gets moved around, and if one of those spots would potentially be the 5 spot, what that would look like around him, and how he would handle at this point in the season making a change like that.
Well, it wouldn't be a major change. I'm not going to start Jaron at the 5. I'm not moving Nick anywhere. You know, so this is what's hard about even bringing things up. You guys are already gone to a place that, I don't know, you guys must be hell of coaches, because you got, I mean, what I'm saying is during a game, moving some people around, us going smaller sometimes, you know, is maybe one area if we're, but that has nothing to do with us not running all of a sudden. You know, that, to be honest with you, I'm going to take a lot of blame for a lot of things. That's not going to be one of them, because that's been one of our staples here, and that's what we do. And I did not think we were doing it as well. A little bit at the beginning of the Ohio State game we did, and then we didn't do it as well. And so, I'm just saying getting even more athletic and, hell, we might go bigger in some positions, to be honest with you. We're going to put some pressure on everybody. You guys put it on me, fans put it on me, I put it on them, because pressure is a good thing.